21. Why, it's absolutely brilliant, cried the roving grasshopper when James had explained his plan. The boy's a genius, the centipede announced. Now I can keep my boots on after all. Oh, I shall be back to death, wailed the poor earthworm. Of course you won't. I will, I know I will, and I won't be able to see them coming at me because I have no eyes. James bent over and put an arm gently around the earthworm's shoulders. I won't let them touch you, he said. I promise I won't. But we gotta hurry. Look down there. There were more sharks than ever now around the beach. The water was boiling with them. They must have been 90 or 100 at least. And to the travelers on top, it certainly seemed as though the beach was sinking lower and lower into the water. Action stations! James shouted. Jump to it. There's not a moment to lose. He was the captain now, and everyone knew it. They would do whatever he told them. All hands below deck except Wordsworth, he ordered. Yes, yes, they said eagerly as they scuttled into the tunnel entrance. Come on, let's hurry. You centipede, James shouted. Hop downstairs and get their silkworm to work at once. Tell her to spin as she never spun before. Our lives depend upon it. And the same applies to you, Miss Spider. Hurry on down. Start spinning. 22. In a few minutes, everyone was ready. It was very quiet now on the top of the beach. There was nobody inside. Nobody except the earthworm. One half of the earthworm, looking like a great, thick, juicy pink sausage, lay innocently in the sun for all the seagulls to see. The other half of him was dangling down the tunnel. James was crouching close beside the earthworms and tunnel entrance, just below the surface, waiting for the first seagull. He had a loop of silk string in his hands. The old-winged grasshopper and the ladybird was farther down the tunnel, holding on to the earthworm's tail, ready to pull him quickly out of danger as soon as James gave the word. And far below in the gravestone of the beach, the glowworm was lighting up the rim so that the two spinners, the silkworm and Miss Spider, could see what they were doing. The centipede was down there too, exhorting them both frantically to greater efforts. And every now and then James could hear his voice coming up faintly from the depths, shouting, Spin, silkworm, spin, you great fat lazy brute! Faster, faster, or we'll throw you to the sharks! Here comes the first seagull, whispered James. Keep still, earthworm. Keep still. The rest of you get ready to pull. Please don't let it smack me, begged the earthworm. I won't. Shh. Out of the corner of one eye, James watched the seagull as it came swooping down towards the earthworm. And suddenly, it was so close that he could see his small black eyes and his curved beak, and the beak was open, ready to grab a nice piece of flesh out of the earthworm's back. Pull! Shouted James. The rolling grasshopper and the ladybird gave the earthworm's tail an enormous tug, and like magic, the earthworm disappeared into the tunnel. At the same time, up went James' hand, and the seagull flew straight into the loop of silk that he was holding out. The loop, which had been cleverly made, tightened just the right amount, but not too much, around his neck. And the seagull was captured. Hooray! Shouted the old winged grasshopper, peering out of the tunnel. Well done, James. Up flew the seagull, with James paying out the silk string as it went. He gave it about 50 yards and tied it to the stem of the peach. Next one, he shouted, jumping back into the tunnel. Up you get again, earthworm. Bring some more silk centipede. Oh, I don't like this at all. Well, dearest worm, it only just missed me. I even felt the wind on my back as it went swishing past. Shh, whispered James. Keep still. Here comes another one. So they did it again, and again, and again, and again. And the seagulls kept coming, and James caught them one after the other and tethered them to the peach stem. One of the seagulls, he shouted, wiping the sweat from his face. Keep going, they cried. Keep going, James. 200 seagulls, 300 seagulls, 400 seagulls. The sharks, as though sensing that they were in danger of losing their prey, were hurling themselves at the peach more furiously than ever, and the peach was sinking lower and lower still in the water. 500 seagulls, James shouted. Silkworm Shakespeare is wearing out of silk, yelled the centipede from below. She says she can't keep it up much longer, nor can the spider. Tell them they got to, James answered. They can't stop now. We're lifting, somebody shouted. No, we're not. I failed it. Put on another seagull, quick. Quiet, everybody, quiet. There's one coming now. It was the 501st seagull, and the moment that James caught it and tethered it to the stem with all the others, the whole enormous peach suddenly started rising up slowly out of the water. Look out! Here we go! Hold on, boys! But then it stopped, and there it hovered and swayed, but it went no higher. The bottom of it was just touching the water. It was like a delicately balanced scale that needed only the tiniest push to tip it one way or the other. One more will do it, shouted the old green grasshopper, looking out of the tunnel. We're almost there. Now came the big moment. Quickly, the 502nd seagull was caught and harnessed to the peach stem, and then suddenly, but slowly, majestically, like some fabulous golden balloon, with all the seagulls raining at the springs above, the giant peach rose up, drifting out of the water, and began climbing towards the heavens. 23. In a flash, everybody was up on top. Oh, isn't it beautiful? They cried. What a marvelous feeling! Goodbye, sharks! Oh boy, this is the way to travel. Miss Spider, who was literally squealing with excitement, grabbed the centipede out of the waist, and the two of them started dancing around and around to piece them together. The worm stood up on his tail and did a sort of wiggle of joy all by himself. The rolling grasshopper kept hopping higher and higher in the air. The ladybird rushed over and shook James Farley by the hand. The glowworm, who at the best of times was a very shy and silent creature, sat glowing with pleasure near the tunnel entrance. Even the silkworm, looking white and thin and completely exhausted, came creeping out of the tunnel to watch this miraculous ascent. Up and up we went, then soon they were as high as the top of a church steeple above the ocean. I'm a bit worried about the peach, James said to the others as soon as the dancing and the shouting had stopped. I wonder how much damage those sharks has done to it underneath. It's quite impossible to tear it from up here. Why don't I go over the side and make an inspection? Miss Spider said. It'll be no problem at all, I assure you. And without waiting for the answer, she quickly produced a lace of silk thread and attached the end to the peach stem. I'll be back in a jiffy, she said, and she walked calmly over the edge of the peach and jumped off, paying out the thread behind her as she fell. The others crowded anxiously around the place where she had gone over. Wouldn't it be dreadful if the thread broke? The ladybird said. There was a loud, long silence. Are you all right, Miss Spider? Shouted the old green grasshopper. Yes, thank you, her voice answered from below. I'm coming up now. and up she came, flying foot over foot of the silk thread, and at the same time tucking the thread back cleverly into her body as she climbed past it. "Is it awful?" they asked her. "Is it all eaten away? Are there great holes in it everywhere?" Miss Spider clambered back onto the deck with a bit pleased but also a rather puzzled look on her face. "You won't believe this," she said, "but actually there's hardly any damage done there at all. The beach is almost untouched. There are just a few tiny pieces out of here and there, but nothing more." "You must have mistaken," James told her. "Of course she's mistaken," the centipede said. "I promise you I'm not," Miss Spider answered. "But there are hundreds of sharks around us. They churn the water into froth." "What?" "We saw their great mouths opening and shutting." "I don't care what you saw," Miss Spider answered. "They certainly didn't do much damage to the beach." "Then why did we start thinking?" the centipede asked. "Perhaps we didn't start thinking," the green grasshopper suggested. "Perhaps we were all so frightened that we simply imagined it." This, in a point of fact, was closer to the truth than any of them knew. A shark, you see, has an extremely long, sharp nose, and his mouth is set very awkwardly under his mouth and a long way back. This makes it more or less impossible for it to get its teeth into the vast, smooth, curving surface, such as the side of a peach. Even the creature turns on the ways to its back, it still can't do it, because the nose always gets in the way. If you ever seen a small dog trying to get its teeth into an enormous ball, then you will be able to imagine roughly how it was with the sharks and the beach. "It must have been some kind of magic," the laborer said. "The horse must have healed up by themselves." "Oh, look, there's a ship below us," shouted James. Everybody rushed to the side and beat her over. None of them has seen a ship before. "It looks like a big one. It's got 3 funnels. You can even see the people on decks. Let's race them. Do you think they can see us?" Neither James nor any of their others knew it, but the ship that was now passing beneath them was actually the Queen Mary sailing out the English Channel on her way to America. And on the bridge of the Queen Mary, the astonished captain was standing with a group of his officers, all and gasping, with a great round ball holding over her head. "I don't like it," the captain said. "Nor do I, sir." "Nor do I," said the first officer. "Do you think it's following us?" said the second officer. "I tell you, I don't like it," muttered the captain. "It could be dangerous," the first officer said. "That's it," cried the captain. "It's a secret weapon." "Holy cat!" said the message to the Queen at once. "The country must be warned. And give me my telescope." The first officer handed the telescope to the captain. The captain put it in his eye. "There are birds everywhere," he cried. "The whole sky is teeming with birds. What in the world they are doing? And wait a second. There are people on it. I can see them moving. There's do I have this darn thing focused like... It looks like a little boy in short trousers. Yes, I can distinctly see a little boy in short trousers standing up there. And there's some sort of giant ladybird." "Now, just a minute, Captain," the first officer said. "And a colossal green grasshopper." "Captain," the first officer said sharply. "Captain, please." "And a mammoth spider." "Oh dear, he's been at the whiskey again," whispered the second officer. "And an enormous centipede," screamed the captain. "Hold the ship's doctor," the first officer said. "Our captain is now well." A moment later, the great round ball disappeared into the crowd, and the people on the ship never saw it again.